gross outing last week, Dave, but we were on fire before that, and we're getting back on the horse with 3 best bets for week 16, starting where?
Starting with one that we featured last episode, and it's one that I'm still not super excited about, but we're going to talk about it. Our job here isn't to be excited about the plays, but look at the Dimers data, see what it says, and see if we can find the way to put it to use. And that's what we're going to do. 58.2% probability, 7% edge for the Cardinals to cover, plus 2.5 versus the Falcons. You can get this on +3 on DraftKings right now for slightly longer or shorter odds and a better number. But, it's plus 2.5 at -105, almost even money for the best available price. Cardinals, as we mentioned, not a good team, but better with Jacoby Brissett under center. Spreading the ball around to his guys. Might have Marvin Harrison Jr. back in this game. If not, Michael Wilson and Trey McBride should be wheels up for them against a Falcons passing game that's been an absolute wide receiver funnel since week 9. Second most yards allowed to wide receivers, over 180 per game. League high 1.6 touchdowns to receivers in that span. Ranking dead last against wide receivers in the red zone and in fantasy points per game. So, prop-wise, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, someone's having a huge game. Obviously, Trey McBride, not a wide receiver, but he's a tight end, very much in his own mold. The defense is the problem for the Cardinals, giving up over 30 points a game in 4 of their last 6. 3 of those were 40-point blowouts. And now the Falcons could have Drake London back. Pitts, Bijan, all active. Would be a tough matchup for Arizona. Hard to get a good read on London right now. His no receiving lines on the books. He's not in the TD scorers on the books. He is in our projections, but he's only been practicing in a limited capacity as of yesterday. We got him projected for 66 yards, 39% touchdown probability, notably down by more than 5% touchdown probability since Tuesday. So perhaps something to consider there, or maybe related to his availability. But still, even if Atlanta's at full strength, they're just not really a confident team. Either, right? 30 plus points in 3 of their last 5 games. Should have lost that game to Tampa Bay, who just couldn't close out. When you have 2 teams that just don't really instill confidence, we talk all the time that you kind of like the underdog a little bit more in those spots. You're getting value here. I do think if you want, you can wait on this a little bit, because I don't think the line will get any shorter if Drake London's ruled out. You're not going to see +1.5, +2 for Arizona on the road for that, but you might buy yourself a half a point for free if it moves to 3.5 as a standard line. If he is active, I could see that affecting the Cardinals side as a dog a little bit more, and then you'd probably get that standard line at a -105, -115, not have to pay up to probably what is -135, -140 for +3.5 right now. So not the most exciting play, but it's a good value, and certainly a path exists for the Cardinals to cover this game.
Yeah, bad team versus bad team. Give me the points. Say it all the time. It's very easy for a bad football team to shoot themselves in the foot. This should be an entertaining game, possibly a great props game. You can find weaknesses to exploit on both sides. Definitely want to wait and see on London. That's the big thing hanging over this game, but God forbid he doesn't play in this game. Going to feel really good about Cardinals +2.5. At this point, we should probably just add it to the card. Next up, we're taking the total here, or more specifically, the model is telling us to take a total here. This will be on my card, though. Eagles Commanders over 44. Very high probability here, very high edge. What's the pitch?
Yep. You can get this 44.5 -108 or 44, where we have our highest probability, 58.2%. Yeah, not a lot of totals, if any, featured on here this season. But honestly, it's kind of a gross card with some tons of eliminated teams this week, motivation up in the air. So we're just trying to isolate what look like the best spots. And this one looks pretty good. It is the first meeting between the Eagles and Commanders this season, which is kind of nuts that it's happening in Week 16. Just weird scheduling-wise, but so we don't have any previous meetings to go off of. But you got one of the worst defenses in the NFL up against an offense coming off the ultimate get-right 31-0 shutout over the Raiders. Certainly think the Eagles could put up 30 again, against this team. The difference is the Commanders are definitely better at moving the ball than Las Vegas. They've managed to put up 26 points, almost won the game against the great Broncos defense, pair of touchdowns against Seattle, really good defense. Both those games ended up going over this number. You're over this in 9 Commanders games, just 6 for the Eagles, but that's due to a lot of offensive inconsistency from Philadelphia, which you'd like to think in the wake of how things are going there, they're going to try and legitimately build off of the performance of last week and not regress to what they were doing pretty much all season when they were struggling to put up points, close out games and whatnot. I do think the Eagles will roll in this game after popping the lid off that offense, try to keep the vibes high with all their guys getting mixed in, run the ball. See a big day from Saquon. I think Commanders' run defense is just so bad. Also give up a pretty decent amount of yards receiving to running backs. But Eagles have been gashed by the run lately, so I think you get the Commanders to hang in there and keep this at least an entertaining game with the points flowing. We're not looking for the Commanders to cover or anything. They do have, I think, about a 57% probability from the model to do so. The number's 6.5. Certainly in play, I think. But, the total looks like the more favorable, entertaining play, I'd say. Then you don't have to worry about just one of the teams. And you can kind of just worry about them both putting up points, which I think we're going to see.
Yeah. And coming off the shutout, I feel like it's a good time to, I don't know, it feels like a little deflated total here for me. The Eagles offense, we know, can get into the mid-30s with ease. Commanders are usually good for 2 touchdowns somehow, some way. This, at minimum feels like a 31-14 game. That would be over 44.5 for me. I like it. I also, like the moment I see a total from the model as one of the strongest plays of the week, it's like, eyeball emojis, light bulbs, like, yeah, okay, we don't often see that all the time. Not saying there isn't total value on the site, but in terms of like the highest probabilities, for whatever reason, we usually end up playing spreads here. So, yeah, let's do it. Lock it in. One more best bet for the card this week. Looking at Jacksonville in Denver here. Team that the model has liked a lot this season, going back to the well.
Yeah, liked it a lot this season. Likes them a lot this week. Got to say, maybe in Denver gave me a little pause, but digging into it a bit more, I do think this is a really favorable spot. Despite Denver's obvious, defensive just dominance, but 56.5% probability, 5.2% edge here might be the most fun play of these 3. Model does also like the under 47.5, 52% probability. I like that as well. And as we often say, when the under aligns with the underdog, it's usually a pretty good spot for them to cover. If they have fewer points, obviously you have to score less to cover the number. Jaguars are rolling, coming up against the top seed in the AFC, the top seed in the AFC with the Broncos. And as mentioned, on the road here, but 5 straight wins for Jacksonville. All blowouts but 1. Not the biggest competition here, just 2 games against teams over 500. One of them was the Colts game when Daniel Jones went down. So not exactly beating the best of the best. Meanwhile, we talked about the Broncos last week when we loved them over Green Bay. Still haven't lost since week 3. Mighty defense, showing a few cracks lately, allowing almost 270 passing yards, 1.5 touchdowns per game since week 11. Definitely getting away with it lately, I would say. Escaping the Raiders 10-7, Chiefs 22-19, Commanders 27-26 on a game-ending pass breakup. The Raiders again sneaking by a touchdown. These are all bad teams that are eliminated from the playoffs that Denver has not been capable of just rolling away from. And all those teams are worse than Jacksonville, certainly, especially with the way they're playing right now. So you're coming up against Trevor Lawrence's best 3-game stretch of his career. I know that's a small sample size, but when you're in form, you're in form. When you're hot, you're hot. It doesn't give you the most confidence against the Denver defense, slipping a little bit lately and unable to really slam the door shut on much lesser teams. Meanwhile, the Jags have one of the best defenses against the pass in this span, who were pretty vulnerable earlier this season through the air, but only under 200 yards over their past 5 games. 1 TD, I believe, or just a couple of touchdowns per over that span, and over 1 pick per game. So they're showing up. they're making some difficulty for opposing offenses, and Denver doesn't have the most exciting offensive skill players.
No, they do not. Denver, it's almost one of those teams that you feel like is hitting their ceiling. And I'm not a believer in like peaking too early, but if you went down the list of all 32 NFL teams and we're giving them a letter grade for the results of their season, Denver would be at an A++++. Simulate this season 100 times. I don't know that they're going to have the same record, the same win streak that they currently do right now. I watched a lot of that Denver Green Bay game last week, and we were all over Denver. It was the result we wanted. It also felt like Green Bay had plenty of chances to win that game. Like plenty of chances to win that game. It just couldn't get over the hump. And I think if you do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence right now, as crazy as it sounds, he takes advantage in a way that Jordan Love just didn't last week. So it sounds crazy because I don't like fading Denver in Denver, but I totally see the value. It does feel like a letdown spot given that it was kind of this playoff atmosphere game last week for the Broncos. And I mean, if you believe in a team being due, I think there's no team more due for a letdown week than the Denver Broncos right now. So I like it. There we go. 3 plays this week. I would say I'm in for 2.5 of these. That Cardinals one is still like, okay, I might just bet the props, but the model loves it. And if the model loves it, I should probably just love it, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I would agree. I had 2 of these. I'm all about. Like, I love the over. That's why I included it in here. Love the Jags play, even though it was outside our like top 4 or 5. It stands out. And like I said, avoiding some games where the motivation is really up in the air for a couple of these teams. So yeah. And speaking of motivation, Broncos might be looking ahead just a little bit here. Mahomes-less Chiefs next week, and very possible. If they lose the next 2, Chargers win the next 2, division on the line at week 18 against the Chargers. So maybe you want to just come in here, deploy your game plan, and get out.
Yeah, 100% could see that. Okay, there you have it. Dimers Pro, 50% off with code podcast. Make sure you get all these insights for all these games for the rest of the NFL season, even into the playoffs. While you use promo code podcast for 50% off Dimers Pro, also, please subscribe to this podcast. Give us a like, throw us a comment. We do this twice a week, every single Tuesday and Thursday, and we're going to keep this rolling as we get into the postseason of the NFL.